This is a rare vegetable soup. The kind of vegetable soup you see on the internet is the one paired with water leaves. But in today's video, I will show you how to pair your vegetable with uziza leaf. And if you're looking at making vegetable soup this festive period, this is the right tutorial for you. Now let's begin without any further ado. As always, let's steam the protein. Any protein of choice will be okay for this recipe. For the soup, I used cow head and a little bit of beef. I added them into the pot, added stockfish, and then I introduced seasoning salt, and I will stir together to combine. Added onions. I'll add a little bit of water. Remember, I'm cooking with cow head, so cow head does not have water. And after 10 minutes of cooking, I will introduce salt. I didn't introduce salt from the beginning because of the cow head. I wanted it to cook down a little bit before I introduce salt. I don't want this video very long. I'll just be cutting everything, but you understand what I did. After 10 minutes, again, I removed the meat and set it aside. I then reintroduced the pot, added palm oil, and when it became hot, I introduced onions, introduced pepper. Then I'll introduce a little bit of seasoning, stir together to combine and allow this fry for some time before I introduce periwinkle. But before I will introduce the periwinkle, right, I will introduce a bit of crayfish just to spice this oil. I will then introduce the periwinkle. I want you to keep note of the quantity of crayfish we're using in the soup because the soup needs a lot of crayfish. If you're using the shelled periwinkle, I will show you when to introduce it. I allow the periwinkle to cook into the oil a little bit. I then reintroduce the meat and its stock. I added ogirisi. After adding the ogiri, I will stir together to make sure that the ogiri is well distributed. We'll also introduce a bit of crayfish here. Like I said, keep watch on the quantity of crayfish we're using for this recipe. After introducing crayfish, I will introduce this deboned fish. This fish is very tasty. Now, the taste of the soup will depend on the dry fish you will give and the quantity of crayfish you will give to it. After stirring properly to combine, I will introduce a bit of water to cook everything together. After allowing this to cook for another 5 minutes, I will be introducing another fish, which is the saltwater catfish. Now I prefer the saltwater catfish because it has more taste than the breaded one. You can use any fish of choice. To add in the fish, I introduce more crayfish. If this is the first time you're seeing this channel, I would like for you to subscribe and turn on your bell notification so you'll be notified each time we post a new video. And if you love what we do here, I think it's right time to hit that subscribe button. Thank you. And if you're my returning subscriber, you know you're always appreciated. Thank you for always stopping by. Thank you for viewing, for your support. I really appreciate them. Thank you very much. After cooking the meat for another 10 minutes, I'll introduce more oil. And then I added salt. It is time to introduce the uziza leaf first. Now, uziza leaf acts as a herb and it has a very distinct flavor. The flavor is so wonderful in vegetable soup, and that's where I would love you to use it. If you haven't tried this soup before, I think when you try the soup, you'll be hooked to it. Here, I changed the spatula. I changed the spoon. I'm using this wooden stick because it's more comfortable for me, so I can stir to the ground. If you're using the shared periwinkle, this is the right time to introduce it. Then cover it for it to cook for 2 minutes before I introduce the vegetable proper. Now, after stirring, I will introduce habanero pepper and I will stir together to combine and allow it to simmer for just 2 minutes. Like I said, please let me know your thoughts so far and if you'll be making the soup. At this point, I introduce the last crayfish. I will immediately introduce the vegetable. Now, anytime you're making vegetable soup, right, you don't need too much water into your stock, because vegetable has an inbuilt water. If you add too many water in your stock and then you introduce your vegetable, the water will be excess. So the trick is to make sure that your stock thickens up, with a minimal quantity of water. The vegetable was a whole lot. I normally add and then stir to reduce the quantity. I don't like to add my vegetable, cover and allow it to cook down. No, if you do that, you will kill the vegetable. After stirring, I introduce more oil and I'll stir again to make sure that the oil is well distributed. Now, the soup also requires a whole lot of oil. If you're on a healthy journey, right, reduce the quantity of oil you add to the soup. And if you've watched up until this time and you haven't subscribed to the channel, this is the right time to hit that subscribe button so you can become one of our family members. And also turn on your bell notification so you'll be notified each time we post a new video. Thank you. Now at this point, the soup has not boiled. I will just adding vegetable and stirring, adding vegetable and stirring until I exhausted the vegetable. But here I covered and allowed the soup to simmer for just 2 minutes, and then I will stir again to combine and the soup is ready. Let me know if you will be trying the soup in the comment section, and if you would like to make vegetable soup this festive period, I think you should give the soup a try, because why? You will get hooked to it when you make it for the first time. And then I stirred together to combine here, and I introduced more oil because the soup was not, giving that oil vibe. Like I said, this soup requires too many oil, and if you're on a healthy journey, please reduce the oil. And this is the finished product of the soup. Will you try the soup? The soup is so delicious. Everyone that had the soup enjoyed it. This is the kind of soup that you make for your husband and he will keep coming back home very early. You can also check out how I made this afang soup, right? Thank you for watching. Till I see you in my next video, do have a pleasant day. Please share, like, share to your friends basically. Bye.